6 years ago, I was mountain biking in the remote hills of Pennsylvania with my wife. 48 hours later, I was in a coma being prepped for brain surgery. Just 2 weeks later, I was given 3 months to live. In hindsight, my bike performed flawlessly. It was a part of me that sabotaged our adventure. Emergency surgery and medical treatments racked up a bill of about $500,000. At the time of my hospitalization, I was uninsured. Our dog Neo was set to be our sole guest and ring bearer at our COVID-era wedding, and the venue was set to receive us just 2 weeks after I was hospitalized. In those 2 weeks, the unimaginable happened. My wife and I attempted marriage in the hospital as a last-ditch effort to bind us and our assets, but the officiant declined, suggesting that I was not of sound mind. I recalled paying out of pocket for medical treatment to see a provider before my hospitalization. I had pain in my stomach at night, I was having trouble sleeping, and I had recently lost weight that I couldn't explain. I asked a bit about cancer screening, and I remember she chuckled as she said to me, "You're a young, healthy guy. You don't have cancer. You're probably just stressed at work." As it turned out, I had been incubating a rare, aggressive type of brain cancer that might have explained more of my oddities than I'd like to admit. Needless to say, I was in a bit of a pickle. If a pickle was getting the back of my skull lopped off, a brain tumor removed, and my head rebuilt with titanium, I really felt like I was staring down the barrel of my own mortality and financial ruin at 29 years old. I would absolutely be lying if I said, "And here's how I beat cancer." I did create a self-healthcare system that significantly increased my chances of survival, and I'll share more later on in the video. Some cancer patients board the "fuck cancer" train, and I didn't buy a ticket. I felt pessimism was an indulgence. The cancer was me. I didn't authorize them, but they were my cells. And embracing anger was not a net positive in this situation. I read once, "It's not the snake bite that kills you, it's the venom." There are no justifiable resentments in life. In practice, that meant I had to balance accountability for my emotions with grace for my situation. We are responsible for our health, even if we're dealt a rough hand. Worried that I might fall prey to victimhood, I practiced gratitude for the fact that I had the help of our community, that I had more time, and my new forced perspective. Time became my most important asset, and my attention was how I would spend it. If I embraced resentment for my cancer, my luck, or my choices, I would also embrace misery. In this case, my life would have been ruined, and it would have been me who ruined it. I had a choice to make. During treatment, I opened a new business with my partners and co-operated another. I remember thinking, what am I doing, as I cut the ribbon at our grand opening? There was this little voice in my head that said, moving the chess pieces towards the king. Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist Viktor Frankl said, "Between a stimulus and your response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." I came to recognize that I always retain the ability to choose my response to a situation. I chose to see my cancer as a challenge. I returned to work at our physical therapy clinic after just 3 months off. Grateful for my colleagues' trust in me, and with the memory of a goldfish, I was grateful to step into the clinic and take care of others rather than stew on my own situation. And don't get me wrong, treatment was tough at times. My vision was altered, the tumor affected how I could sleep, surgery recovery was painful, and care was expensive. My fear of relapse was real, and at times I was miserable. But misery breeds growth. There was an odd side of me that felt curious. How could I improve my chances of survival? How could I rig the situation in my favor? Growth can be uncomfortable. Cancer growth is certainly worse, though. It felt to me like a good time for me to grow. I heard once, "He who has a why can bear any how." I had lots of whys. My beautiful wife, our fun-loving friends, our extraordinary patients in the clinic, and there were endless things for me to do and learn. I needed these whys that would survive the emotional volatility of weeks and months while promoting stability over months and years. My whys sharpened on the grindstone of time. Simply put, I had been living for others, and I hadn't been best supporting my own life's mission. After I got sick, I chose to spend more time with my friends, family, in nature, and with the goal of eventual financial freedom. It was from this mindset that I birthed a new health philosophy. I called it health cost averaging. I would invest weekly and monthly in my health just as I did my retirement accounts. My cousin Roger, a financial guru, loomed large in my mind as I brewed this concept. He taught me that investing small amounts each month would catch the average cost of a stock over time. I thought to myself, why shouldn't I do the same with my health? And so, good day or bad day, I did the right thing. I did the hard thing. Chemo weeks, I never missed a workout. Cookies at work, I stuck to my green protein shake instead. I created health buckets that I was accountable to fill each day. Sleep, exercise, diet, mental hygiene, breath work, and hydration. The systems I deployed put me back in the driver's seat and helped me rebuild my health. I began researching health moves that would give me a disproportionate advantage toward not just surviving, but thriving. Exercise, hydration, and diet adjustments helped rebuild my wasted muscles. Sleep, breathwork, and mental hygiene resurrected my mind. I approached the world like I was born again, probably with a fervor that my colleagues and friends would describe as a bit intense. Early in recovery, I remember waking up each morning and I was so excited to be alive. I felt a bit like that thief in the spy movies you see, who dodges the lasers in the museum before they steal the crown jewel. And there I was, admittedly demented after surgery, absolutely elated to be alive, and completely terrified to relapse. I hung in the balance of a delicate cognitive superposition, believing that two things could be true at once. I took solace in the thought that I was not special. Others had struggled similarly, and my challenges were not unique. That meant there was a community of people struggling together, all attempting to live their why. Speaking of, a childhood friend, Winslow, started a GoFundMe and raised $100,000 in funds. In discussion with hospital administrators, my providers, and state aides, I was granted charity care that took care of a portion of my medical fees. My community helped unshackle me from debts in a way that I had only dreamed of. Childhood friends, colleagues, prior patients, and members of our community stepped forward to donate time, money, or expertise. Our local oncologist provided chemo, radiation, and a cadence of imaging. I'm forever indebted to their care. At one point in my treatment, I remember sitting in a radiation oncology prep room, and I was enjoying an opiate lollipop. A really nice nurse was turning a screw, and she asked, "Can you feel this?" as she joined a metal cage with my skull before a gamma knife radiation surgery. In that moment, I thought, this would make a great once-in-a-lifetime story, but how can I make sure this never happens again? And within my immediate control, health cost averaging was my answer. In my darkest moments, I clung to a few shining ideas. They enhanced my why and helped me focus on my health cost average plan. I learned lesson after lesson in the following years, but one etched deep into my mind. Discipline is the strongest form of self-love. The future me is depending on the current me to keep the promises I made to myself yesterday. I had privileges that others in worse situations could only dream of. I didn't get here by going alone, and despite all the assistance, I learned one hard lesson about my health. Nobody is coming to save me. My health is my responsibility. Our illusion of control is often usurped by the powers that be. I learned that as a community and as individuals, we have incredible potential to seed change ourselves. I needed help from a medical system once, and now that I'm stable, it's my responsibility to remain that way for as long as possible. Thank you to all the people that helped me over the past 6 years. I'll reach my official remission in September of 2026. When you've encountered a life-altering experience, how did you navigate it? I'm curious to hear your answers. Please leave a comment below. For more information on the plan that helped me regain my health agency and strength, check out my free PDF guide on my website, garnetloveday.com. I believe we are all athletes. Our sport is our lifestyle, and practice begins with a plan I call health cost averaging.